Is Ben Cleaver, and let me pull my notes up here. Yeah, notes. I'm a producer and a co-host of a podcast called The Con Guy. We're based out of Los Angeles. Thank you. And we are co-sponsoring this panel today, and we are so proud and honored to be here at San Diego Comic-Con once again. The Con Guy covers news of the con universe. We share opinions. We unbox collectibles. We interview people in the film, television, and comic book industries. And we celebrate all things nerd, geek, and pop culture. In 2020, when we were all locked inside our homes, we did a slew of online episodes celebrating the 45th anniversary of Jaws, featuring interviews with the likes of Jeffrey Kramer, Carl Gottlieb, Joe Alves, and many more. So we are most certainly Jaws super fans. And if you do want to check out any of those interviews, our YouTube channel, you can find it under The Con Guy, or you can go to theconguy.com or check out any of our social medias. So it is my honor to represent The Con Guy as a co-sponsor of tonight's panel, the 50th anniversary of Steven Spielberg's Jaws. Our panelists and moderator, but if you'll indulge me for just a moment. As a lifelong Jaws fan, I'd love to do just a little brief intro. In 1973, movie producers Robert D. Zanuck and David Brown purchased the rights to a yet-to-be-released novel about a great white shark terrorizing a small Long Island resort town and three men who attempt to kill it. That novel, written by Peter Benchley, was called Jaws. Zanuck and Brown had each read the manuscript in one night, and the next morning they agreed that they needed to produce a film version. Now, Brown later claimed that had they both read the book twice, they would have never made the movie because they would have realized how difficult it would have been to produce. But the wheels were already in motion, and cinematic history was about to be made. After dropping their first choice for director, Zanuck and Brown signed a 26-year-old named Steven Spielberg to helm the project, and the rest, as they say, is history. So without further ado, allow me to introduce your panelists and moderator for tonight. You may know him from G4's Attack of the Show, or FX's The X Show, or you've seen my big fat independent movie, or the documentary Attack of the Doc. Host, producer, writer, and multifaceted geek. To call him an expert on movies is an understatement. I present to you the founder and head writer of Film Threat, the pride of Big Rapids, Michigan. Please welcome Chris Gore. Terrifying. She is a writer, a comic creator, a film critic, a columnist, and the co-creator of In Symmetry Creations, a Jaws superfan, and I'm told an expert on the subject. Please welcome Steph Cannon. And now you may or may not recognize him from his dozens upon dozens of film and television credits, but I recognize him from his uncredited multiple appearances in one of my favorite television programs, Star Trek Voyager. Not only is he a tenured actor, but an incredibly accomplished interviewer and writer for the world of pop culture. The author of the tell-all behind-the-scenes book, Just When You Thought It Was Safe, a Jaws companion. Please welcome Pat Jankowicz. Largest collection of authentic Jaws film props and memorabilia in the world, and he just told me it is about to be official through Guinness. Please welcome Chris Kiska. And he brought a bag. And finally, your moderator for tonight's panel. He's an actor, he's a comedian, he's a filmmaker, and he's a San Diego go local, but he grew up in Rhode Island. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away from where Jaws was filmed. And he's a wicked big Jaws fan. Please welcome Mr. Mark Atkinson.
Y'all know me. You know what I do for a living. I catch a bed for you, but ain't going down to the pond catching bluegill and Tommy cod. This fish, swallow you whole. Wow, there is a lot of you. They said there was a line, but I was like, okay. This is great. Well, my name is Mark Atkinson. Believe it or not, this panel's been 5 years in the making. I originally wanted to do it in 2020, but we all know what happened. But I remember, Chris, you were one of the first people I said, hey, would you be interested if I did a Jaws panel?
I don't remember, but I'm sure it's true.
It was in 2020. He came down. Obviously, the con was canceled because of the COVID. And we had a couple of White Claws outside the convention center.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Hey, it was the summer of White Claw. And you were one of the first people I asked. And you said, sure, absolutely. And Mr. Jankowicz, you were the second person I asked.
I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And then you were a last-minute addition just a couple days ago.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, Pat asked me, and I said, "Excuse me, will I cry for a little bit because I'm so excited?" The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Women always cry when I call.
Yeah. This is for a good reason, though.
And Chris, you were only booked earlier today.
No, actually, you ran into me in the hall over there.
What the hell, Atkinson?
It's funny because obviously I've met all these people through. I mean, Chris, I've known you for years through the film festivals, you know, the network and this.
Exactly.
And the con. And then Pat, we met a couple years ago drinking Kraken.
Real drink.
Party.
Not White Claw.
I met you, Chris, on the floor, and I just met you today. But thank you for being part of my panel, and thank you for coming out. Keep that in mind in case we do a 55th. So yes, my name is Mark Atkinson, and I was going to do an intro, but Ben did such a great job, I'm going to go ahead and scrap it. And we'll probably just go ahead and go right into the panel. But I want to thank you all for coming out and celebrating and honoring maybe one of the best movies ever made. All right, so we can go ahead and get into some questions, guys. What was your impression? First of all, did anyone here see Jaws in the movie theater? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's for you guys too. We have some people that were, okay, good for you. Well, thanks for coming. What was your first impression when seeing it in the theater?
Starting with me.
Start with you. Yeah, we'll go down the line.
Well, first of all, there was the world before Jaws, which was nerdy movies and whatnot, and then the world after. Jaws being the first blockbuster. Everyone thinks Star Wars, sure, yes. There was the summer of Jaws. And oddly, unlike Star Wars, there was no merch, nothing. Just your experience of the movie. And I think I saw it about 7 times that summer. Definitely, I mean, I was like 11 when I saw it. And obviously, like many of you, frightened to go to the beach. And that movie changed everything. It connected people through conversation. It was a dare. If you were a little kid, like, have you seen it? It was amazing. So, but at the time, no merch for that other than a game that came out, and that was pretty much it.
I don't remember the hard plastic shark that if you stepped on it, it felt like a punch.
It was really bad, but I feel like I'm in heaven now because there is so much Jaws merch. I am loving it.
Where the hell has it been?
Popcorn buckets, Jaws, I mean, figures, it's awesome. So I do remember seeing it that summer and being, I had to sleep with the light on. That's when you were a kid and you saw a scary movie, did you ever sleep with the light on? Anyone? I'm the only one. Okay, I'm not. But yeah, it was a phenomenon before even Star Wars.
I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it later. I was still very young though, probably a little too young, honestly. But you know, I mean, that was the kids of the '80s. That's how it was, you know. And it's the first time I remember watching a movie feeling scared. That first scene where you see this poor girl, Chrissy, just absolutely in terror as she's being attacked, and I remember being just speechless and dumbfounded. I just couldn't even move because I was so terrified. But I was, at the same time, I was enthralled. I wanted to know more about this story and these characters and what was happening. And even as a young kid, I thought, I want to tell stories like this. I want to scare people too. That's what I want to do. From the time I was probably, I don't know, 6, 7, and ever since then. And I remember probably a few weeks later, I thought, I'm going to start learning how to write scary stories. And I was 11, I wrote my first scary story, I submitted it, it was like the local newspaper, like scary story contest, and it won. And that was because of Jaws' influence. I wanted to scare people the way that scared me. I remember being scared to go to swimming pool, and that doesn't even work. It's like, there's no sharks in swimming pools, but the thought of your legs underwater, you know, was just so scary. So now here I am. Here I am now as a writer. I talk about Jaws all the time, and it's the most influential part of my career now as a writer, as a film critic. My cat is named Brody. There's a character. I mean, it goes beyond. So, but it all started with that feeling that the movie made me feel within the first few seconds of that movie, where you're so terrified you don't even know this character. She says a few lines.
Yeah.
And for you to feel that empathy for her, I wanted to make people feel that way. And it's been that way ever since.
There it is. Here we are. Writer, Mr. Jenkins.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm honored. I did not get to see Jaws that fateful summer. The late, great Marilyn Jankowitz decided it would freak me out. I did see it with my baby brother over there. Years later, when it was playing at the Troy Drive-In with Orca the Killer Whale, and my mother, remember Orca? Orca just there.
Richard Harris, right?
Richard, I was more impressed with Charlotte Rambling with sure.
Some people say the best Jaws knockoff.
And no, the best Jaws ripoff is knockoff is Alligator or Piranha.
Oh, really?
Both written by John Simmons.
All right. I would have said Jaws too, but okay. Kidding.
But I was not allowed to see it. I remember we were visiting my grandmother in Seattle. She had a movie theater 2 blocks down. My late great uncle Jerry said, Marilyn, let me take the kids to see them. Mom said, no, that movie would freak Ricky. I was Patrick, but Ricky is a kid. That'll freak Ricky out, you know. And my sister used to call me Freddy Pat because I was really terrified of horror movies. So when I did see it with Orca the Killer Whale at the Troy Drive-In, which if you ever go back to Michigan is now a Red Roof Inn, my mother made it a point of being a horror horn for my little brothers, Don and Steve. And she would, Stevie and Donald, cover your eyes now. You don't want to see this now. So you would all instinctively do that because your mother was self-editing this classic film. But because you were banned from something, it became kind of an obsession of mine. And then eventually, when I found out Jaws was one of the 5 most often run movies on TNT, AMC, and these other stations, I got really curious and I wanted to know the stories. I got all the original victims. I spent a week with Susan Baglioni and she was showing me all this stuff. Thanks to this man right here, I've held Ben Gardner's head. I've also interviewed Roger Castle, God rest his soul, who drew the Jaws poster. And it was an obsession. It was like he was saying and she was saying. It became kind of an obsession. There was not a movie that would be more, it was every political cartoon. Jaws was so popular, and I knew this as a child, not being able to see it. They did one ad for a week of nothing but political cartoons for the movie Jaws. Everything, you know, Gloria Steinem swimming down to eat the shark, all this other stuff, you know. Fidel Castro talked about Jaws in his speech in Cuba, saying it was the ultimate indictment of American capitalism. And it was one of these movies that captured the zeitgeist. And like Chris said, before Star Wars, there had been nothing. Movies weren't stuff that kids were interested in. It was all like government conspiracies, you know, everything else you didn't care about. After this, when you heard it was a fish eating people, what's not to like?
All right. Good answer.
Thank you so much.
And Mr. Chris, how about yourself?
Well, I was 5 years old, and it came out in the summer, and we were in Florida on vacation, and it was a shark movie that my father worked on a harpoon gun for this company that he worked for, and I knew that the shark movie was coming out. My dad was all excited, and I remember I used to fish when I was 5, and I'd go out with my uncle and my father and everything, and I remember my aunt and uncle and my parents were all going to the drive-in theater to see this movie, and we're in Florida on vacation, and I remember it not affecting me whatsoever. I was swimming in the ocean, but my aunts and uncles would not go in the ocean or in the pool or anything after that movie.
Yeah. For myself, I probably saw it on like ABC or something like that in the late 80s, early 90s or something like that. And then I really got into it in college. I started doing impressions at parties and all that stuff with Quint, and I don't know, I guess I made a couple of parodies of it, and I don't know, here I am.
I'll convince Mark because Jaws is a perfect movie in different situations. It's great on cable, late night, anytime. It's in the theater, it's great. At the drive-in, in fact, during COVID, we went to the Mission Tiki drive-in and we saw Jaws at the drive-in that was great. It was
And no, the windows did not steam up if that was going.
4th of July weekend. That was awesome. Those summer dollars.
Great. It's a great. I watch it once, twice, 3 times a year. Usually around the summertime, around the 4th of July. Seen it so many times in Mission Tiki, seen it in the theater. But one of my best experiences was seeing it just a few weeks ago at the Hollywood Bowl, or the LA Film Harmonic.
We were both there again.
And I'd seen it so many times, but I've never seen it with 15,000 other people. It was amazing. Yeah. Hey, buddy. Oh, this is Jim Fry. He's one of the con guys, by the way. Without him, this panel would not exist.
You can see Jim too, but I thought it was a ghost of Jim.
We discussed doing this panel at WonderCon. Oh, okay.
I see Jim from
Okay,
time
we'll
to
do
time
that.
urging me to kill.
And we actually have some pictures that we prepared for Chris. Now, Chris, he's got the biggest. What do you say? The biggest collection of Jaws?
The largest collection of original movie memorabilia and merchandise.
Mhm.
And I'm still going to this day, thanks to all these people loving Jaws, and they're still making merchandise. I got a lot of stuff to show you. But originally how it started was, I had the harpoon gun. Eventually, after the movie was over, my father got it back. And I did the Mecca, and I went to Martha's Vineyard. And, within a week, I was only supposed to stay there a week. Within a week, I find out that, I met a couple of, locals that were actually in the movie and everything. And they found out that my dad was...
Oh, well, look at that. Look at that picture of him. I look, he's being cool. He's not even putting his arm around Steven Spielberg. I wonder if Steven Spielberg, they grab his arm like he discovered air. This guy, he's cool. His arms are full. They'll take a good pull.
The late great.
So then I go to Martha's Vineyard and I meet this woman who knows everybody and everybody. And she goes, "Oh, your dad made the harpoon gun. Well, Johnny's got a couple of barrels in his basement." And I go, "The barrels from what?" And she goes, "The barrels from Jaws." And she dials the phone, gives me the phone, and puts Johnny on the phone. I go, "You have the barrels from Jaws?" He goes, "Yeah, well, my father works for the movie. And after the movie was over, he was going to use them for fuel oil." And I said, "And you still got these barrels?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "What are you going to do with them?" He goes, "I'm probably going to use them for fuel oil." And I said, "Can I come and see these barrels?" And I was in my early teens, and I go to Johnny's house, and Johnny's got 2 of the barrels sitting there that I can't believe, and the original barrels. And I go, "Well, why are you going to use fuel oil on these things?" I said, "I would love that. Why don't you just use 55-gallon drums?" He goes, "Well, get some 55-gallon drums and we'll talk." So I literally couldn't go out of the driveway fast enough, go down a mile. I stop at some, a mechanic place, and there's 2 barrels outside. I said, "What are those barrels for?" And he goes, "Oh, we have fuel oil in them. When they're empty, I'll sell them." I said, "What if I take them as is?" He goes, "You want them dirty?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, I don't know, give me $110 for the 2. So I buy him, and I say, can you deliver him? And I show him the address, and he goes, you want me to deliver these too? And he goes, oh, it's only a mile down the road. He goes, okay, well, for $110, I have 2 original barrels from Jaws now. And I go, wait a second, all this stuff is still, and he goes, a friend of mine's got some other stuff from Jaws. And I go, what? This stuff was all left here behind? And one of the things that burned in my memory is I could never understand why all this stuff was left in Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
And so I finally meet Steven. And he don't even get one word out of his mouth. And I go, Steven, I gotta ask you, why did you leave everything behind at Martha's Vineyard? He goes, you don't understand, even though Jaws was the movie that made my career and everything else I ever wanted to do, he goes, that was my first major motion picture. If I didn't hire Lorraine Gary, who was the vice president's wife, should have become president, that movie would have never gotten made. And he goes, every day I thought I was going to be fired. And he goes, when we were shooting a scene, we didn't go, oh, maybe we have to reshoot it or do another thing. He goes, we shot it, we got it. If we didn't get it, that was it. Yeah. And he goes, we were just on a rush doing it and doing it. He goes, I can't tell you how many scenes we didn't get because it was too dark or something slipped or, and we didn't even think about reshooting it, let alone if we got one shot take. So he goes, it was just like lightning in a bottle. He goes, he never thought that movie was ever going to get made. It was going to be shelved.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think you have more stuff than Greg Nicotero?
Yeah, because
everyone knows who Greg Nicotero is, right? Yeah.
I thought when I was going to meet Greg was going to have everything I ever had. I remember going early, traveling to California, and the only 2 people that collected movie memorabilia was Forrest Ackerman and Bob Burns. And I always went to them. I said, "What other Jaws stuff? Where can I get Jaws stuff?" He goes, "You got it all. Don't just everybody else." I was so obsessed. I'm still getting stuff to this day. Yeah. And I'm finding stuff, and now people know who I am. But it's just I've gotten stuff as recently as a couple of months ago, and it's still out there. There are props and stuff out. It's amazing, but the stuff that's gone, how it destroyed. It was just people neglected it. Just left it alone in their garage, in their basement, It just blows my mind on that. And I thought, my father and mother would go, "So what are you doing this weekend?" I said, "I'm going to Martha's Vineyard." And then, why are you bothering those poor people? I go, "Why don't you hang out with your friends?" They go, "No, you don't understand. There's still more." And this is before cell phones, before internet. No one collected any of this stuff.
Yeah. We actually saw Greg Nicotero when we were on the island. We were on Martha's Vineyard Island, by the way, about a month ago for the 50th. We'll get to that in a few minutes. We had asked him to be on the panel, but unfortunately he's got another panel, something about The Walking Dead. But good guy. We actually, there was another panelist we had asked. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here in person, but he did prepare a special little video clip. If we can go ahead and roll that, guys.
Yep.
Yeah? Some of you guys might know who he is. Maybe I'll give you an intro anyways. So there's 2 people who wrote Jaws. There's Peter Benchley who wrote the novel, and then the man who really brought that novel to life.
In Comic-Con land, San Diego. Are you all enjoying the sun and the surf, or are you all enjoying your crowded hotel rooms? I'm sorry I can't be there with you, but I'm older and frailer these days. But I can send you these words of encouragement. Enjoy the movies as much as you can.
Carl, shotgun him.
Yeah. Well, he said enjoy the movies.
He had my book on that shelf if you take a look in the middle. Like a mother bird, I would know it anyway.
Hello out there in Comic-Con land,
there he
San
is.
Diego.
There he
Are you all enjoying the sun and the surf, or are you all enjoying your crowded hotel rooms? I'm sorry I can't be there with you, but I'm older and frailer these days. But I can send you these words of encouragement. Enjoy the movies as much as you can, because they don't make them like that anymore. And the movie that I worked on so hard so many years ago has stood the test of time. It's Jaws, the original.
Woo!
And you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. And I hope you have none of the problems watching it that we had making it. The ultimate test was the film was finished. It was released.
This is like shooting.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly. I'm like,
Shark
wow,
is broken,
how
everybody.
poetic is
Sorry.
that? A little bit of a technical glitch there, huh? But actually, that was the tail end of it, and he just wanted to say he couldn't be here in person. He's 87 years old, lives up in Hollywood, and we just shot that interview last week, so that's how. And we spent about 2 hours with him. We will have more footage of that interview on the Con Guy website and podcast and YouTube channel. So yeah, unfortunately, he couldn't be here, but it was really cool to meet him. So there's that. So let me ask you this. Why do you think Jaws is still so relevant 50 years later? We'll go down the line.
Well, I'll tell you, having seen it, first run in a theater, the summer it opened, I was a huge, and Pat will relate to this because we both grew up in Michigan.
This is true.
Michigan people see a lot of movies, right? And
Yeah, you usually test.
You need escapism, right?
yes, it's very cold 9 months of the year, so we're indoors watching movies. But I used to read the newspaper to find out what horror films or sci-fi movies were playing. We had shows like late night horror hosts like the Ghoul, Sir Graves Ghastly, and I remember watching everything. Every sci-fi or horror movie I would watch, no matter what. I'd make a list, and the only time I ever remember a child being killed in a horror film was Robot Monster. When Roman, and if anyone knows Robot Monster, it's a gorilla costume with someone wearing a diver's helmet. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. But I remember that terrified me as a kid because kids never get killed in these things. And what I think the reason Jaws has endured is because it is still terrifying. Why? I'll give you 2 reasons. Never kill a dog or kill a kid. Spielberg did both.
He did.
That little, and I was about the same age, I'd say.
R.I.P. Pippin.
Yeah, Pippin, I know. And the way he did it was great, just a floating ball to show the dog was absent. Didn't show it, right?
It was a stick. It was a stick.
The stick, yeah, that's right. And then the Kittner kid, I was about that age, like him, and we would go to the lake, but not after Jaws, we would not. And that scene, if you're gonna kill a dog or a kid, no one is safe, and that's why this movie endures 50 years later.
Very stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, didn't he recently say in an interview that there's no evidence that the dog actually died?
No, I'm not.
I saw it.
The dog.
Where'd it go?
I think it's a cop-out, though.
What about the death of the Kittner kid? I didn't realize this until years later.
Yeah.
He's doing the scene from Peter Lorre's End. The famous shot where the mom is calling for Alex, and you see the remains floating on in the surf with the blood. That's the scene. If you watch on TCM, there's a Peter Lorre child killer movie called M. There's a scene where he tempts a little girl away from her mother with a balloon, and when the little girl is taken away, you have the mother come out just like Mrs. Kittner. Very nice lady, by the way. I interviewed her on Martha's Vineyard. You'll see the ball, just like in Jaws. The ball is sagging against the fence where the little girl was. She knows, the mother doesn't know what happened, just like the mother in Jaws. He does this amazing reference to this Peter Lorre classic as a throwaway. The same way in the opening of the movie, when Chrissy goes for the shot, it's the opening shot of The Creature of the Black Lagoon when Kay first goes in the water. When Chrissy grabs the boy, that's an exact scene from Revenge of the Creature, where Lori Nelson is grabbing the boy outside of an oyster restaurant and pulls her under. Because the shark wouldn't work. They found ways to make the shark work. Joe Alves showed me all his charcoal. They intended to show Chrissy being eaten, the shark coming up right underneath her. And they couldn't do that because
That was the first scene. They were showing the shark immediately.
And one of the weirdest Jaws things that you read about, and they talk about it in the documentaries, the only place they see is a picture in my book. Roy Arbogast had a picture. It was made of like the same material as a toilet, like a porcelain. this shark was sold to Universal by Joe Alves making this porcelain shark with a marble for an eye. I held it. You see it in the book and everywhere else. And what happened is when it broke, Roy Arbogast had a working shop. He was always doing John Carpenter movies and everything else. He swept it up and threw it away. And Joe Alves is like, that was Jaws Ground Zero merchandise. He threw it away not knowing it could be recast because he had to make room for the next alligator or dinosaur movie coming through his shop. So he literally, when you saw this thing with a marble for an eye, they couldn't find anyone to make this item.
Black eyes, like a doll's eyes.
Yeah.
Doesn't really seem to be living till he bites you.
Don't get him started, people.
Steph, you want to add to that?
Well, it's a perfect movie. The pacing is
The
impeccable.
great Leonard Maltin said that. I saw him recently. I asked him that question.
Yeah.
The
Quentin
great Leonard.
Tarantino said it too, actually.
Oh, he
yeah,
did?
he
Tarantino
did.
said it's the best movie ever made. Not film, movie. And
He
he's-
did. I saw
The
that.
pacing is impeccable. It starts right off. Let's not forget the most iconic score, probably of all time in movies, by John Williams. It doesn't matter if you've seen the movie once or you've never seen it or you've seen it 100 times. You can just hum the first few
There we go.
notes of that and you know exactly what it is. For me, it is the juxtaposition of these characters' personalities and the different wants and needs that they have, but they all come together to kill the shark.
Oh.
There you go!
And Chris is 100% right about the shark killing the dog and the kid. It wouldn't have that kind of staying power if they didn't do that. It's relentless.
You have the first act of the movie where it's Brody who's trying to do the right thing. He wants to close the beaches because clearly something's happening. And you have the arrogance of Mayor Vaughn who just cares about,
Oh, he's great.
he wants those summer dollars.
Yeah.
Amity is a summer island. And they go back and forth on it, and then Brody is still blamed once the Kittner boy is killed.
The Kittner boy.
By
Speaking
the
of Kittner,
by the time you get to the three of them, Quint, Hooper, and Brody, out on the boat trying to kill the shark, they all want to kill the shark for different reasons.
different
Brody
motivations, right?
feels responsible, even though it's not his fault, because Amity is his island. Those are his people. People
Yeah, but
were
they're
killed.
not, because remember in the movie he's
Right, he's from New York, but
Yeah.
he still is chief, and he feels a sense of responsibility because the beaches weren't closed and there was people who died. Quint just wants to kill the shark. He wants the money.
Well, we know why.
He wants it, and it's a little bit of revenge. It's a little bit of revenge,
I'll never put on a life preserver.
Yeah, he hates sharks for a very good reason. And Hooper is just fascinated by sharks. He's just out there just to have a good time, I think, really, know. But the three of them all want the same things for all different reasons, and they all come together to kill the shark. And so you have this kind of push and pull between these characters and what their motivations are. That is a very, very well written story.
And the team effort thing you're bringing up is important because it remains a team effort in the last half. He's using, Brody is the only one who doesn't know how or what to do. At the end of the movie, it becomes a team effort. It's Hooper's air tank and it's Brody's gun, and it's Quint's gun. So even though one man is fled, one man is dead, the third guy is learning everything he's taken from the other two to put it down.
And Brody faces his fears. He's afraid of the water. He shouldn't even be on that boat. That was the last thing he wanted to do. But he put aside his fear to go out there and do the right thing.
Right, and there's the reason why. When he's on the boat, he says the iconic line.
We need the bigger boat.
He doesn't say, I'm gonna need her boat. I'm gonna need it. He says, where? Yeah, he doesn't say, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
York.
He says, you're gonna need a bigger boat.
That's always
because
his
he's
line.
not even in the,
Yeah.
the reality.
My editor wrote the wrong thing in the ad when he put the ad. So I had like 100 people. You want to meet sensitive people? Turn to the internet. You got the line wrong, jerk.
Yeah.
Another thing in the film we don't often see in movies today is class struggle.
Oh, yeah.
You've got that rivalry.
City hands, Hoopa.
City Hands.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
also
Oh, money.
almost vaguely anti-Semitic as well when you watch the movie. I mean.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So Alex Kittner, he's actually still alive and well, as played by Jeffrey Voorhees, who we met on Martha's Vineyard. Me and Jim and Luke, we actually went to Martha's Vineyard last month. Once we found out that this panel was proudly accepted, we all decided we got to go to Martha's Vineyard. And we were there. And we actually have, we know, was anyone here in the room there by any chance? Okay, that's great. Because we prepared a little clip here, just in case you weren't, just to give you a little taste. So, whenever we're ready for that, guys. Cool. Here it is.
Hello, Comic-Con. She's been here. We are on Martha's Vineyard here by the replica version of the Orca they're doing, celebrating Jaws50. Jaws50, can you believe it, Marty? This is Marty Milner. He helped build the original Orca and also did a little bit of work on the mechanics of the shark. What's it like being here 50 years after Jaws?
It's good to be back on Martha's Vineyard because I have a lot of people who are here who are my friends, and it's always good to touch back with people that you've been friends with for over 50 years. And if you're lucky enough to live as long as I have, and you've got 5 friends, you're doing well. And I've got a lot more than that because of basically the guy I am. And on Jaws, I basically made a reputation for myself both on the island and with the movie people as somebody who was indefatigable and absolutely relentless with the pursuit of a solution to any problem.
She's been here on Martha's Vineyard with Renee Ben David. Tell us about your experience working on the film. Show us the picture on there.
I was 14 years old, did like everybody else, interviewed for a part in the movie, and I ended up being Chief Brody's son's friend in the movie. And my part was called an estuary sailor.
Which one of these kids were you right here?
This one right here is me. Tommy Mello from the island. This is Chris. This is an outtake, this picture. Teddy Grossman, who was the stuntman that lost his leg in the movie. We were having an argument. Steven Spielberg said, make up an argument. We didn't have set lines. So my big line in the movie was, hurry up and tie that knot.
I did it. I jumped the bridge.
I am on the Jaws beach right now. Look up at the sky. We have Shark Week being promoted in the same spot that some of the iconic Jaws scenes were filmed. So right here, down here is the main beach. This is where everybody who's watching for sharks was out this direction. Now there used to be a lot more beach here. It's a little more overgrown, but this is probably around the general spot that Peter Benchley, when he did his cameo, is when he was doing the news report. He played the reporter. And then basically, here's the pond. Over this direction is where the shark attack actually happened, where Michael and all them were on the pond area. Shark! Shark! Here we are in the scene where the girl screamed shark. I think it might have been Joan's girlfriend, possibly, that they might have said. She supposedly was there today here in Martha's Vineyard, but this is the exact spot here where she was yelling across to Chief Brody and the Amity crowd, and then the shark crossed over there, and then there's even a shot of her standing on these rocks over here where she's pointing that we all reenacted, but this gives you a good lay of the land that the beach they were at was over there, the shark comes in there, and then the pond is over there. So we're gonna take a look at the pond. Hey everybody, so this is the spot right here where Brody ran across, and then he jumped over here to get to his son Michael, who just saw the shark attack. So right down here is the actual beach where they found him, and then the death occurred out there in the water. And then, if you come with me now, the shot they did where he looks through the bridge actually would be very hard to do, which this is a little cinematic trick, is I'm pretty sure they shot that from the water, because there's no way from this kind of angle you could look directly through to see the ocean out there. That is what Brody was looking at. So this over here is the official pond area that was in the movie Jaws. And again, there was the girl screaming, and then on the far side is the beach day that they had over there, and it was also the place that Alex Kittner died. So we are here in Martha's Vineyard. The con guy, couldn't be a better day. Look at this.
Who's that
Perfectly
dope in
sunny.
the background standing on the bridge?
Perfectly
Yeah.
roasted.
His whole life ahead of him.
You always hear me singing this song, show me the way to go home.
What an amateur, huh? Look at that guy. So at this point in the panel, well, first of all, I want to thank all my panelists again. I do have a little something for you. I'm going to go ahead and show you here. It's,
Turn into a type of
Clothes.
metal right now.
Mark's dark fetish comes out.
Should I do this one? Look at the video. Jaws50, I survived the Jaws50 panel.
Oh, shucks.
I was gonna, yeah, what size you, Pat? Let me guess. Triple XL.
That's me,
There
sir.
you go, sir. That's for you.
Bless you, my son.
Chris, double XL?
Yeah.
There you go. That's
Because
for
I
you.
don't have enough Jaws memorabilia.
There you go. And, Chris, medium?
Sure.
Okay.
There we go.
And you are a small.
It's definitely.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
There you go. Okay, we can open it up to the audience now. If you have any questions, please feel free to line up. Is there a man named Brad? He's dressed up as Chief Brody. Is he here? There you are, Brad. I got a t-shirt for you too. Yeah, I saw you on the escalator. I'm like, Brody, you're getting a t-shirt. What size is, sir?
Large.
Large, you got it. Step aside for you. All right, sir. We'll start with you.
Closer to the mic. You look charming, but we can't hear you.
No Mikey, no Worky.
There it is.
I don't know about that.
Hi, I'm Nico Holt. From a filmmaking and technical standpoint, what do you think was most groundbreaking about Jaws? And why does it still hold up cinematically 50 years later?
It would, like Chris said earlier about the dog and the kid, I think what makes Jaws unusual is there's a lot of different emotions in the movie. The scene where Brody is having a bad time and the kid's imitating him, they didn't usually take that sort of time in a Hollywood movie like that for a nice emotional moment like that. I think what people really react to on Jaws even today is like Chris and Steph said earlier, and Mark, it's a class struggle movie. I think it's a horror movie. I think it's a drama. It's Enemy of the People by Ibsen, except instead of the poisoned water, it's a fish. And I just think there's a relentlessness to it. I would argue there's almost a savagery to it because Spielberg had to make a mark on this. So there's a relentlessness in the movie reflecting his relentlessness to get a project going that people would notice. You certainly notice the movie. It's certainly better than the book. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Personally, with me, I think it was like that Hitchcockian thing that, I mean, he was out of a necessity, and he was, you know, the shark wouldn't work, this wouldn't do, so he had to make up things, and that's why everybody that watches it has got a different version of it, because you're making up the stuff in your head. You don't see Chrissy you're picturing her getting attacked in every which way that you can think of. You never see her get attacked. You don't see the shark, you see the barrels. So it's all in your head that you're building up this thing. You don't see the shark till about an hour and a half into the movie, where Spielberg, if it would have got the way he wanted, he would have showed the shark immediately. So you would have already seen the shark. You don't see it until about an hour and a half into the thing. So everything that's, you know, you're thinking, you're creating your own mind. So it's like, you know, Hitchcock with the shower scene. You never see the knife hit the lady, you never see blood, but you picture it in your head in the way that you do. So I think everybody's making up their own interpretation of that movie.
Right.
That's why I think it works so perfectly.
And of course the music, but I think one of the great moments in the movie, one of the most terrifying, Quint's death, there's no music. And that makes it even more chilling.
Screams.
Yeah.
Horrifying,
Yeah,
yeah.
terrible.
Intense.
From a cinematography wise, I mean, said, it's POV and it's the score that is creating the fear that you feel when you're seeing these people attacked. And it just goes to show that in filmmaking, you don't have to show everything in order to terrify your audience. In fact, it can be even scarier if you show less. Less is more sometimes.
Less is more, exactly.
Less is more sometimes. So, yeah, you don't see the shark until much later into the movie. And of course, that was mainly because they had a lot of issues with it, but it doesn't matter. You know, all of that trouble they had making the film, and that's what is iconic about it today, is, and all the underwater scenes too. And there's just little nuances of cinematography. Think about the vertigo shot when Brody's sitting on the beach.
The Zolly, one of my
Yep.
favorite shots.
Which was one of the first times it was used in film, as far as I know. And you hear music, you see that zoom, you see his face, but you know exactly what he's feeling in that moment.
Yeah, it's vertigo in reverse.
Yep.
Thank you. Good question. Would you like a t-shirt?
Yes.
All right, what size are
You
you?
answered correctly.
Hi, good evening. Thank you all for being here. I'm Stacy, and Steph and Chris kind of touched on what my question is. But solve the controversy from the superfan's point of view. What is the first official viewing of the shark? Mine is when you see when Kittner gets attacked and you see the fins flip over. What do you all think?
You know what? I agree with you. I also think the estuary is the first time you really see the head and everything. I know a lot of people won't count the estuary, but because that's when the Jenkins family got to the Detroit Drive-In. That was the first appearance of the shark for me. So that counts. And the estuary, by the way, the fish flipping over, Roy Arbogast told me that was the only part of the shark that worked every time they used it. There was like a barrel roll, and the rest is, there's a shot of a stuntman lifting in a garbage bag, lifting the kid up and down, you know. And the one thing, since you brought up Kittner, I wanted to point out, it drives me crazy, all these online sites. What a nightmare Jaws would have been if we had this one shot of the shark taking the Kittner boy. They tried to do that shot. Spielberg wanted the shark coming up under Alex Kittner, which would have been nightmare fuel. But Joe Alves, who designed the shark, designed the movie, production designer, also did all the shark footage. Every time they brought the shark up under the mannequin, every time they brought the shark up under the mannequin of the kid, the shark would push the dummy and the raft one way or another. That shot could never be used because it never worked.
That's really interesting to know because I think that scene is great with all the blood bubbling up.
I totally agree.
Iconic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like a t-shirt?
Sure.
Who's gonna say no, right? Go ahead and take the picture.
Hi. I'm here on behalf of my son. He's too shy.
Shame on you, boy.
So he watched this movie for the first time when he was 4 years old. He was in the hospital for heart surgery, and he's been watching it ever since, like every time he can. And I saw Chris memorabilia and the pictures and everything, and he just lost it right now. He's like, oh my mom, that's what I want. I want to get everything. And he makes little shrines with stuff that we get, buy, or whatever. But what I want to, he wants to hear is advice from you guys. Like, how to get to this level.
Well, the level, I don't know what level that is, but I can tell you that I'm still collecting to this day, and everything you see here, I got here at the show. So, and this is vintage stuff, new stuff, and I don't know what I missed, but if anybody lets me know, I'll take it. But I mean, I'm always looking for, different stuff. There's just so much stuff that I've already had that's out there, like the popcorn bucket and this and that. Anytime there's something there, and I've never done drugs in my life. I've never drank. And I've spent all my money on Jaws merchandise.
There you go.
Solid investment.
And I'll tell you what, to this day, I still have all of it, and I have the Academy Museum is actually borrowing 200 pieces of my thing, and they're going to do a display for the whole year.
Yeah.
And 200 pieces out of 300 pieces, they're going to use 200 of mine.
Wow.
So I guess I did a good job, in collecting this stuff. But I meet people all the time, and they go, oh, you're the Jaws guy. I don't want to show you my collection because it's pathetic. I enjoy seeing everybody's collection. I don't go, oh, my collection's better than yours. Or if you had a bottle cap of something I don't have, I'd probably be interested in it. Because, I mean, the stuff that I'm missing is like the gumball stuff. And they made, like they said, they didn't make that much stuff, but they did make a lot. I mean, this is a bootleg thing that they made in Mexico in 1975.
No teeth, by the way.
I don't know of any other one that's existing. So I mean,
Like the wheels.
so cool that it was a bank in the U.S. and they took it and they made it a kid's pull toy and it's the bank. And there's just so much stuff.
A lot of toys over there.
And it's still sealed in the plastic, so it's
What is that?
a Timberoma.
Oh, excellent.
From the movie. So
When does the exhibit open, by the way?
September, it goes to like March.
September. It's going to be in September.
At the Academy Museum in LA.
And
Be there.
I don't know if you guys walked the floor yet, and Stern Pinball actually made the 50th anniversary of pinball. And the Shark Head is over there, and over at the Marriott, they have the pinball parlor, and Quint, the full-size figure crushing the can in the fighting chairs over there. You definitely want to see that. And I mean, I just got to thank you guys and all the manufacturers from Mondo to Factory Entertainment to Mattel to Kid Robot to, all these different companies that are still making this stuff and exclusive just to the Comic-Con. And it's amazing how they, it's just all still selling. And I think this year is probably the year of Jaws50, and I've never seen more merchandise in my life.
Yeah, for sure. Burn a hole in my pocket. I got a t-shirt for your son. What size is he? Medium?
And I would keep buying him anything he wants in Jaws. I don't think it's a waste of money. I think it's an investment.
Chris's family is backstage arranging intervention.
And tell him too, never to be afraid to talk about the things that he loves. That's how you get to this
And I'll
point.
tell you this.
Don't be afraid to love what you love. That's how you can get here.
I just lost my mom on the anniversary of Jaws. And I tell you what, he's a lucky. I wish my parents would have took me to a Comic-Con. He has no idea.
No, that's pretty cool. I've been wearing this shirt for a while. Find the color.
Hello. I'm wondering if any of you are parents or grandparents. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 2 kids. I've got teenagers.
Okay. I have 2 kids and my daughter is the younger, and somehow she watched Jaws way earlier than I would have wanted her to.
Sounds pretty rad.
You sound like my mom.
I mean, she was little, like 4 or 5. And she would run around telling people, Jaws is my favorite movie, Jaws is my favorite movie. Like, it did not affect her whatsoever. I'm just curious what ages you let your kids watch Jaws.
I mean, I was pretty young. I was about that age, and I turned out okay. For the most part. So, of course, being a Jaws, yeah, I know, it's questionable, honestly, but, of course, being a Jaws super fan, I let my kids watch it when they were pretty young, too, and the thing is it's a naturally occurring thing. There are shark attacks that happen, so it's not like a psychopathic killer and a slasher.
Right.
For me, it's, I don't know if that's a justification or not, but, it's, there, you kind of gauge with your kids. Some kids can't handle that even. There's adults that can't handle that.
I was kind of aware that she
Yeah.
Then, okay, I guess.
I've never seen a negative impact in children. I've only seen a negative impact in adults.
You know what, that's true. My husband is definitely afraid of sharks.
But I mean, like my aunts and uncles, they wouldn't even go in the pool. I mean, during the vacation after that movie, there's probably, I've heard so many people go, I wouldn't even take a shower or a bath after that.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we got a t-shirt for your daughter who's clearly got great taste in movies.
Hello. Like you all, I was a fan of Jaws because one of my characters I liked was Martin Brody, because to me he represented the everyman trope, the guy just wants to protect his town. Yeah, and that goes with my question to Chris on one of the photos they showed. What was it like on that day you met the late Roy Scheider?
Oh, Roy was phenomenal. The only thing though, he was so much into sports. I mean, that was just one character. So I mean, everybody. It's funny. Is like when you meet an actor and they've been doing it all their lives, they don't know one character. But us as people, for some reason, we know Roy Scheider as Chief Brody. That is the pinnacle of his career. Even though he's done this, he was Cops, and it might have not been his favorite movie, but in our minds, he's Chief Brody. And people don't realize it's, what I do for a living now is I'm a bodyguard, and I work with a lot of childhood actors. And people don't realize, they go, oh my God, that's so-and-so from the movie that I grew up with. They don't realize that kid didn't really chose to be an actor, and he's not that character. He's a regular, that's a job. And it's like that with a lot of people. And Roy was big into sports. I mean, he loved boxing. That was his, joy. And I was good friends with Roy, and he was like, an everyday person. I mean, I met everybody except Robert Shaw. He's the only one. He died in 1978, and my grandmother met him sat on a plane next to him on his way back from the Bahamas to, I think went in the JFK airport, and she sat right next to him when I got an autograph that she got on a book from him to me. And that's one of my prized possessions. He's the only person I didn't meet, but I do own him, and he's at the Marriott now.
What room number, so I'm sure.
Pinball hall. But it's amazing. I've met everybody that almost. The only other person I don't think I've ever met is Sean Williams. And I mean, I've met everybody from I'm good friends with Joe. All these people I got to do these autograph signings and stuff. And I remember meeting Carol Fleeger and Lee Fierro. And I asked her, I said, Lee, you should do these autograph shows. She goes, why? And I go, because you'll make money. She goes, and what will I do with it? She goes, you know the town that they call like Amity, the Edgartown? I said, yeah. She goes, I own every store in that town. She goes, I don't need money. And I couldn't believe it. It's so funny how and she had an acting school. And she goes, I don't even charge that much for the acting school. I just do it because I love the love of acting, and I want other people to, become actors. And it's just amazing how, Martha's Vineyard, to this day, if anybody has not been there, I would recommend to go.
Oh yeah, you gotta go. Hopefully that video sold you.
It hasn't stopped. It's like time has stopped. And I mean, you would agree with me, it's like walking on the set of Jaws.
My favorite is the house next door to the Brody house.
There's a sign that says stop, so I guess we gotta conclude this.
Was it something?
No, I think it was everything you said. But I really want to thank everyone here. Go ahead and give a quick plug down the line.
Start with you, Chris. I want to thank everybody for coming here, and if you see anything on this table I do not have, I will definitely be interested.
Just when you thought it was safe, a Jaws companion has a Facebook page. Like it, read the Jaws information.
But definitely make it over to the Stern Pinball booth, and definitely go over
Chris,
to...
you're getting on the phone.
Hey, sure.
Steph Cannon, co-owner of Insymmetry Creations LLC. You can find us on Facebook, online. Fangoria writer, film critic for Fangoria, Creepy Kingdom, and Horror Buzz.
And find the Film Thread on YouTube. We do lots of live streams and reviews. So cool. We love Jaws!
Yes, we do. And I'm Mark Atkinson. You can follow me if you'd like at @TheMarkAtkinson. And we may or may not be at another con in the LA area doing a similar panel. So you got that going for you. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the con guys for producing this. Without them, I literally couldn't do it without Jim Fry and Luke Cheeseman and Dan Butler. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming out. You rock.